Okay, so how is it that so many people, young men, get stuck in a job that they hate, right? I think a lot of people have big dreams when they're young, maybe. It's normal to have big desires and dreams with our lives, but the fact is that most people today in our society are working a job that they don't like, right? And they're stuck either in a 9 to 5, or building their own business and making a lot of money, but still working their life away, right? Stuck in the rat race, as they say, or the cycle of continuing to work, and eventually really like sacrificing their life for that, and their health and their family and different things that are really important to us, right? And I want to make this video because currently I'm back in England for a few months, before we make our transition to Peru. If you've been watching any of my older videos, I've been living in Colombia for the last 5 years, and being back here in England currently, I'm also saving up a little bit of extra money before we make our transition to a new country. I can see the system from like a higher perspective, right? Because when we're born into a system, the education system in a specific country, and we eventually get a job or go to university and continue that system, we never get like an outside perspective of what's really happening here. But coming back and seeing like how much people work here, and like the stress that brings, and maybe the lack of purpose sometimes, and not just in this country, because like this system obviously spread across the world with the different the British Empire and different things like that, right? But you can really see the effect that this is having on people's lives, and obviously these videos are for young men, and I think the people attracted to these videos normally is kind of like you know that you don't want to live in that outdated system, right? Probably you realize at a younger age, maybe you're into like self-development or online business, or looking for different routes in your life, right? Because you don't want to work in that traditional 9 to 5, and that's completely fine, because that is an outdated system, and it kind of doesn't work anymore, right? Or it's in its final stages. So really for me, like one of my biggest contemplations being here in England has been looking at the history of this, right? Because in order to understand a problem or a situation, we need to look at its roots, right? And first you can begin with like the etymology, the meaning of a name, right? So in Spanish, work is trabajo. The word for work is trabajo. And it's funny because in Spanish that word trabajo literally means to torture, right? That's the meaning of the word in Spanish. It comes from a Latin word, I forget the word, but it comes from a Latin root word, which is basically a free-pointed whip, right? Trabajo. So it's a torture mechanism to hit slaves, right? So that gives you an idea of where these words are coming from. But in English, it kind of has a different meaning, the word work, and work comes from what basically means to make something, or to create something, which isn't necessarily a negative thing, right? Because we want to create, we want to make. But the question is what are you making, right? And who are you producing for? What are you creating? Who are you creating for? Are you creating something out of your own desire, own passion, own will, right? Or own creativity? Or are you creating something for someone else's business that you don't really believe in, or a system or an outdated mechanism, society, that you don't really feel is in alignment with what you want to do in your life, right? So the question is what are you creating? That's how we bring consciousness into this system, right? So going deeper back into the history of work, it's funny because like where I'm from in England, it's traditionally, like, historically a very industrial place, right? I'm not too far from Birmingham, maybe like half an hour outside of Birmingham, which was like a main industrial hub, right, of the Industrial Revolution. And the Industrial Revolution is important because that's when basically loads of people, I think it was crazy, like 80% or a very high percentage of England, and by the way, before I share this, even if you're not from England, like, this system affects everything. If you're an English speaking person watching this video, like, you've been affected by the English system, obviously, right? Also, like, spiritually speaking, England represents the high heart chakra of the world. Europe is the heart, so everything that happens here expands throughout the world. That's why, like, South America, Americas, all across the globe was affected by these things, and including the Industrial Revolution. Okay, that's the system that we live in now. So coming back to that, in the Industrial Revolution, and all the history is held here where I'm recording this video, like, a very high percentage of people used to live in the land, right? They used to grow their own food and have their own homes, family lands. Obviously that was affected a lot by the Roman Empire coming and taking lands and taxes and stuff like that. So people were still suffering in that way, and that's how they easily got manipulated to leave their land and eventually come to the cities, right? Because they were promised all these different things if they would leave their land, and eventually it was originally the men who would go and work in factories and suffer, right? And work their life away in these very poor standard of health and safety factories, right? Just working and working and working. And mainly the main workers, a lot of the workers, the best workers were children, right? And children are highly manipulated, and they can work a lot and be told what to do, right? Because one of the things with work is, like, we have a system that is designed where we follow other people's orders, right? So if you want to create your own project, create your own business, you've kind of got to get over this mental program that has been installed into you of following orders and having someone tell you what to do, right? Because you have to use your own creativity and your own will, right? Your own ideas to create something, to make something, which is what work means. Again, coming to create, to make, okay, to produce. So how are you going to produce something out of your own creativity if you have this program, right, downloaded into you of following orders, of being a good factory worker, okay? So that's kind of where we're coming from, right? And obviously when all of these young men and children were put into factories and had these programs installed and in the education system to create better workers, obviously they're highly easily manipulated to go to war and to do things that are really, like, people didn't care about. They were fighting wars based on, like, these different political and royal powers that they had no real affiliation to, right? They were slaves, essentially. And right now, like, we can say that we're free, but are you free? Are you still working in the same system? Are you still stuck, right? So now, like, I don't just want to make this like a negative video bashing the system, because really, like, this is a problem that young men fall into, especially like in the online make money space and stuff like this. It's kind of, we begin to recognize this system and we want to run away from it. We want to escape the system, okay? So then we try to look for, like, get rich quick tactics, or like whatever it is, right? To escape that pain of work, of trabajo, of torture, without actually looking deeper into it. Because, you know, what the project here is called initiatic alchemy, right? If you're familiar with the work that I'm doing. And really, alchemy is about transformation, right? It's not about trying to just change something or run away or escape something to create a new life a band-aid, right? Like a plaster that you're putting on a wound, because most young men are doing that. It's like, I'm in a lot of pain, so I'm going to get rich and buy all these things so I feel good about myself. And really, they're still in the same pattern, right? Still depressed and lost. And it's kind of like the blind leading the blind, right? But really, this channel is about transformation. And in alchemy, the key principle is that you want to turn your poison into medicine, right? That's the transformation, lead into gold. So the key to your transformation and to discovering your purpose and to following that path, and I'm still on that path as well. Like, I'm not perfect. I'm still in my transformations too, every day. It doesn't really stop, this process. You want to look at the poison. So the poison is this work, right? And really, I think it's about the alchemy of transforming work into purpose, right? So what is the beauty and the medicine in that poison, right? So what is the medicine inside of these factory jobs and everything that we lived and the Industrial Revolution? For example, that's a big point there. What is the medicine of that? And for me, like, I think it's a lot of different things, but firstly, you've got like, well, even coming back to like the empires and stuff like that, firstly, you've got the expansion of the network, right? So now, like, we can easily travel. Like, I can just go, I've been living in a different country, the other side of the world for the last 5 years, and will continue to live in a different country as well. Like, that wouldn't have been possible without all of this Industrial Revolution and empires and stuff like this, right? It wouldn't have been possible for me to build my family there or to build my projects there. Also, you've got like the technology now. Like, look at this phone that I'm recording this video on, right? Social medias, or all the different technologies that we have. It's amazing that we have these technologies, right? Obviously, that some of them aren't aligned in the right frequency right now, but like, at least we can communicate with each other across the world. So many different things. And also, like, in industry, like, we can transform different things. Like, the Industrial Revolution was based on products, right? Physical products, creating products, right? And right now we have the ability to create digital products. So all of the knowledge that we have on creating a successful product, we can do that digitally. So we don't have to work all the time, right? And you have the tools now with AI and different things to really create a business for yourself, right? And to do something meaningful in that business as well, okay? Because the next stage of this, the next revolution really is this AI revolution, you know, and there's probably different things coming, but this is something very, very active right now. And maybe it's a different topic for a different video, but I just want to touch on, you know, when people start losing jobs, because people are already losing jobs. What are people going to do, right? So like, if you're still in this mentality of, I need someone to tell me what to do, or I need like AI to save me, or I need some business guru to save me, or to give me a plan, or whatever, you're going to be fucked. Like, you need to rewire this program, right? And to use this poison, these tools, whatever, this past, and convert it into something new, right? So I just want to leave you with a metaphor of what I'm trying to say, if it doesn't really hit home. It's kind of like, imagine you want to grow a new tree, right? Which is your new project, your purpose, and your life path. The origin of that tree is a seed, and that seed is underground, right? So we could call that the darkness, right? Now, if you want to escape that darkness or not use that darkness, like, how is that seed going to grow? It doesn't just grow above ground and grow straight up into a tree. No, it takes all the nutrients of the darkness, right, of the soil, and that soil was created by compost of shit, right? It takes all of that poison and turns it into a medicine and uses that to grow. So essentially, we need to use all of these this past, like the information from our ancestors of what they did, to be grateful for that and to use it. And that doesn't mean to accept everything and to live in the same pattern as our ancestors, because there was a lot of things that weren't aligned. I don't want to live how we lived in like the empire. You know, no one wants to go to war or to do that stuff anymore. You know, like we kind of outlived that. But if we're running the same program, we're running the same program. It doesn't matter what time we're in. So it's time to be conscious, to discover what is your purpose, your unique code in life, because you have a unique code and you're here for a reason. But obviously the old system didn't want you to discover that for you to be a good worker. But now it's time to reveal that. We need it collectively as a society to survive and to thrive as well. Discover it and to bring that into the world, right? And that's really the work that I'm doing here with Initiatic Alchemy. It's basically discover your purpose and transform your reality. That's the message here, right? So yeah, I hope this video helped in some way. And yeah, I'm happy to start making videos again on this channel. I've had a big break, becoming a father, transitioning between different countries, and yeah, finally feeling ready to make some videos here. So thank you so much, and I will see you in the next one.